Ladies and gentlemen, the long-awaited, highly anticipated number 600 episode of Whale Certified. Terry was at the first one, the 500th one, and now he's got the 600th one. So here we are at the 55th session of the United States National High School Champions League, starting 11 or thereabouts, with Terry Minkler and Kevin Whalen, ladies and gentlemen.
Kevin, congratulations on 600. That's an unbelievable accomplishment. You should be very proud of that, which I'm sure you are. We were back to one, right? We were like, where's this going to go? Well, it went fast. Here we are at 600.
Yeah.
So you had quite a run, man. You accumulated a lot of really good guests and interviews, and made a lot of new friends along the way.
Yeah,
well
man.
Done. Well done. All right, let's get into this.
All right, then. Go at it.
Okay. Real quick, just to recap, you've had some great guests on this week, starting Monday with Ryan Helfrich from the Rowdies. That was a good one, and Jimmy DeNoble was a good one, and Eddie O was good. Jim Hart's always good. So it was a good week in review for sure. Just as we get ready to wrap up the World Cup, I've been doing my weekly Friday spiel on the World Cup. So no exception. I'm going to do it again today. And the field's been narrowed now down to two teams, final two teams, Spain and Argentina. So I'm going to talk a little bit about both in ways that that can be helpful to anybody, any team, any athletic competitive event competition. So anyway, here we go. Following the Spain-France game, studio pundits, particularly Thierry Henry, had comments to make about the game. Thierry Henry, being a Frenchman, obviously, was disappointed that his country's team lost. But as a true professional, he gave full credit to Spain for the way they won the game against France. And he had a couple of things that he said. And he said, first of all, he said, I just want to use one word to try to describe what I think of the Spanish soccer. And he used the word levels, Levels, levels. And he said, I use that word because Spain has the ability and the history of being able to win championships at every level. From the youth through the senior team, they win championships. And he said they do that because they have a shared identity and a shared philosophy and a system. And he said every youth player plays in the same way as the first team does. So that when they get to the first team, they've done that many, many times before. The coach of the Spanish team, De La Fuente, is actually a former youth coach himself. And now he's risen to the ranks where he's the senior World Cup coach. So it's identity, philosophy, and system that keeps Spain on top of the game. Second point I want to make is I looked into some of the characteristics of Spanish football, Spanish soccer. And they have 4 P's, words that start with the letter P, P as in potato. And here's the 4, and I'll briefly explain each of them. But when you watch the game Sunday, watch the championship game, after I saw these 4 P's and I watched the game with France, I saw so much evidence of these 4 P's. I'm sure you'll see it again Sunday in the final. First P is possession. And we know that Spain, through Barcelona for all the years, has had their tiki-taka approach that it's known as, where their idea is that possession can totally dominate games because in order to be able to be effective and to score, you've got to have the ball. And if you're one of your tenets is possession, your idea is to keep the ball in your side as much as possible and away from the other team and prevent them from having opportunities to score. And France doesn't, or sorry, Spain hasn't scored a lot of goals in the tournament, but they also haven't given up many. They only gave up 1 goal so far. And the reason being is that, again, here we go. If you don't have the ball, you can't score. So they maintain possession. They build that up through their little rondos and little keep-away games that they play. But that's priority number one. Point number two, second P, is positioning. And positioning is 2 things. It's the position you occupy on the field as a playing position, but more importantly, it's how you occupy space in the field. All right, and the way they occupy space is kind of a spin-off from the Therabo philosophy, where their concept is find and exploit space. Therabo is a abbreviation for total football, which has its roots in Barcelona through Johan Cruyff, and his son-in-law has taken over. Todd Bean has taken over in the meantime. So occupying space means that they cover the field and they make sure that they don't overload when they don't want to overload, that they always have options. So when you watch Spain play, it's always going to be pretty much of a short, controlled passing game with multiple options to relieve pressure. And the occupation of space allows for width, depth, and support. So think of it as the shape of a kite, gives you width and depth. It's a hard words for me to say. And it gives you support. Deep, wide, deep both ways, wide both ways. The third P is pressing. And pressing is a big buzzword in the game today. Everybody's doing and talking about pressing. And pressing is a controlled form of pressure that's applied as a group within a team in certain parts of the field at certain times of the game. You can either press high, press middle, medium, or press low with different alignments. So you have a high block, a medium block, or a low block. But the idea is that by being coordinated and synchronized and doing this together, you can smother the opponent and handcuff them into turning the ball over. The fourth P is perception. And when I first saw that perception, I had an idea in my mind what I thought perception was, and I wasn't sure how it was fitting in with these other P's. But their idea of perception is scanning. And that's another modern term in the game today, scanning. And scanning is like having a radar system in your head where your head is on a swivel and you know everything that's all around you. You know right, left, front, and back. And that allows you then when you're in position to receive a pass, you know if you have time and space because you prepared yourself ahead of time by surveying and doing the scanning. And then that allows you more time on the ball. So when I looked up perception, though, just to satisfy myself in terms of how it fits in, the 2 words that stuck out to me in the definition were awareness and response. And that fits perfectly in with the concept. So when you scan, that's giving you an awareness, and then that allows you, to respond in the proper way. So the points again: possession, positioning, pressing, and perception. Those are the 4 P's of the Spanish model, which goes through the youth all the way up through the first team, and players are trained and developed to play in that way. Pay attention Sunday to the game and see if you don't see those in being employed during the game. My third point comes from a statement made from Zinedine Zidane, the former French international, world-class player, who will now be taking over the French national coaching position, starting probably anytime soon. He's already been announced. But after the game with Spain, Zidane said it was a humiliating aspect from French point of view. It was humiliation. He said, with the talent we have, there's no excuse for our performance. quality, which they have a lot of, he says, means nothing without courage. Quote, we lack urgency, character, and fight. We lost too many duels. And here's a line that I really thought spoke volumes. He said, we seem to be waiting to be rescued. Waiting to be rescued. See, waiting is a very negative, passive word, and rescue is kind of a last-ditch hope, right? His closing statement, which really resonates, he said, character wins World Cups, not talent alone. Character, not talent alone. The fourth point that I have comes from an Argentine national team player, former coach of the Miami MLS team, Inter Miami, is Javier Mascherano. And he says in international soccer, international soccer is not won on paper. And the Argentinian players, after the England game, were making a lot of noise about information in the paper, players speaking behind the microphone, and press releases, press conferences, and everything else about what all they were going to do and how the game was going to go in their favor. And Mascherano says, no, international soccer is not about that. He said it's won through mentality, chemistry, experience, and here's the kicker of it, and this is the biggest one of all. He says, knowing how to win the biggest games. And watched Argentina in the last 2 or 3 games when the game was about to get away from them, as was time. They, late in the game, managed to find ways to get goals. And they did that because they had such a strong resolve and resilience about them and grit that they had no idea of quitting. They had every idea they were going to find a way to, A, stay in the game, and B, find a way to win the game. And they did that to this point. So I listened to Landon Donovan on an interview before, and they were asking him about, well, who do you like? He says, I'm not betting against Messi anymore. I think everybody else can probably agree with that right now. You look at Argentina over the tournament, and you look at the goals and where all they came from. He scored his fair share and assisted on others, and he was involved in a very high percentage of all the goals that Argentina scored. And, you know, as we watch Messi, there's moments in the game where he's very inactive, but he's assessing and processing and preparing for the moments when he needs to be active. So, you know, like the goal he got the other day on the right flank, and usually he cuts to the left and comes across to his preferred foot. But this time he shifted and went to the end line on his right foot and delivered a pin-perfect cross with his right foot to an open man who headed the ball into the goal. So good stuff from Argentina there. Should be a classic game Sunday with Spain and Argentina. And I'm going to close with this point. Here's my 5th point. I just came across one of my information devices. It showed a picture and a caption of the Spanish coach De La Fuente and the Argentina coach Scaloni. And the caption was, 10 years ago, Scaloni, the Argentine coach, was in a Spanish Federation coaching education program, which was taught by De La Fuente. So we have student versus teacher going against each other in Sunday's game. But, you know, I was curious while the game would go Sunday with Spanish teams playing Spanish teams. So there's no cultural diversity or animosity per se, because you got 2 Spanish teams. The other thing is you've got Messi with Argentina, who grew up in Barcelona. Messi arrived at Barcelona at age 13 and played the better part of his whole career, at least the first early part of it, with Barcelona. And, you know, over all those years, he certainly endeared himself to the Spanish supporters, the Spanish people. So now he's coming back, and there will be mixed emotions whether they want to cheer for him or not. Obviously, with Spain being in the game, they'll put Messi on hold for a while and root for their country. So, Kevin, those are my 5 points for the day. And I'm looking forward to an exciting World Cup final on Sunday.
Oh man, yeah. You know, all the rosary beads and all the witchcraft and everything, it's all taken away. Just enjoy that game. Watch the two best teams in the world go at it, and whatever whoever wins uh, did it for that day.
Correct, buddy. Correct.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's been the United States National High School Champions League starting 11 or thereabouts with Terry Minkler and Kevin Whalen. So long, Terry. I'll see you after the cup.
Thanks, Kevin. Enjoy. Take care.